Hi everyone, welcome back to another gameplay of Genshin Impact. So, new minor update to the game, and the two new characters have been added, Shenhe and Yunjin. And as always, I'm gonna go through my personal impressions about these characters. We're gonna just discuss the talents, the skills, the abilities, all that, and I'm gonna just give you guys my personal opinion. So yeah, let's start with Shenhe. She's gonna be a 5-star character, Cryo, and she's gonna be a polearm user. She's equipped in this case for the trial version with the new 5-star weapon that you can get in the banner. That is gonna increase the elemental damage, and that is gonna grant more attack, up to 6 stacks every time that you use your skill. Like for 20 seconds after you use the skill, you can have this extra attack applied. And now, a very important thing is that I can see here that the attack is very high. I can see it's almost 3000. The crit rate and crit damage are quite low for this trial version, but the attack is super high. And then here on artifact stats, you can see that she's equipped with a 2-piece gladiator and 2-piece Shimenawas. So that's an extra 36% attack. And you can see that that's a lot of total attack as well coming out from the artifacts. And yeah, now let's take a look at the normal attack combo. She's gonna have a 5-hit combo. The 4th hit is gonna hit 2 times, and this is how it looks like. So that's the first attack, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, you can see 2 times, and then the 5th one, that's an AoE around her. The charge attack is going to be very simple, like the thrust forward, so like almost every other polearm user. And the plunging attack, once again, is going to be the physical, is going to do physical damage, and it's going to just be this one, right? So it's very common, and that's pretty much it. Now moving on to the skill is quite interesting, and it's pretty similar to Eula skill, because of the fact that you can have 2 different effects depending if you press it or if you hold it. You're gonna always do cryo damage, and but you can see that the press and the hold are different. So if you just press it, you can see that you're gonna thrust forward, you're gonna dash forward doing cryo damage, and that's it. So you can use also this to like dodge or to move quick, right, from one spot to the other, and then you can just keep on attacking. And instead, if you hold the skill, she's gonna just stay in the place for the challenge duration, and then she's gonna dash backwards. So it's completely different from the skill when you press it. And you can see that the damage in this case is gonna be around where she was at the start. So it's in an area. It's not only dashing forward, but it's in an area around. And now taking a more specific insight here on the description, every time that you use the skill, she's gonna grant party members the Icicle effect. And now this Icicle effect is gonna enhance the damage of all the characters based on Shenhe attack if they do cryo damage. So if the normal, charge, plunging attacks, skills, or burst do cryo damage, though that damage is going to be enhanced based on Shenhe attack. And but now the amount of times you can proc it is limited. Each character is going to have a certain amount of times I can proc it, or of course when the duration ends. And you can check out the duration when you go into the skill attributes. You can see right here, this is the quota. So if you can proc this effect 5 times, like if you press the ability, you're gonna be able to have the Icicle effect 5 times. And so if you proc it already 5 times, you're not gonna be able to proc it again with that character. The cool thing is that each character, you can see here, is independent from the other ones. So if you consume all the Icicle stacks in one character, you can still have some on other characters. So you can keep on proccing it. Of course, remember that you must do cryo damage to proc this extra additional damage. Of course, here all the abilities, all the talents are level 8. So that means that the percentages are a little bit higher, but I'm pretty sure that these numbers are here. So the duration, the cooldown, the amount of attacks, these numbers do not increase when you level up the ability. Only the damage increases. So but yeah, you can see here that the press is gonna last less, but it's gonna have a lower cooldown. Instead, the hold is gonna do more damage, it's gonna last longer, but it's gonna also have a longer cooldown. But you can see that the cooldown is exactly the same as the duration, so you're not gonna lose any time with this. And also the quota, so the amount of times you can trigger it is different. 5 times for pressing and 7 times for holding for each character. And that's pretty much the skill. Now the burst is pretty simple. It's very similar to Rosaria's burst, or like Ganyu's burst, because you're gonna do AoE cryo damage. Then you're gonna create this field. It's gonna decrease cryo and physical resistances, and it's gonna do periodic cryo damage, so damage over time. And you can check once again here the stats and the numbers. The damage from the skill, the reduce of the resistances, the damage over time damage, how much is going to last. In this case, it's 12 seconds, and the cooldown is 20. So you have 8 seconds where you will not have the burst active, and you have to wait it to come back. And the energy cost is going to be 80, so it's pretty expensive in terms of cost. And unfortunately here I don't have any energy, so I can't show you the burst. So I'm gonna just keep on going with the other talents, and then we're gonna just have a quick fight to see her in action. Now the first passive talent is gonna enhance the cryo damage bonus by 15% every time that you use the burst. So any active character inside the burst field, this field that is created, is gonna have 15% cryo damage bonus. And I'm pretty sure that even Shenhe can benefit from this extra cryo damage. The second passive talent is gonna instead be activated when you use the skill, and once again here is gonna grant different effects depending if you use the pressing or if you use the holding. You can see that if you use the press, you're gonna increase by 15% the damage from the skill and from the bursts of any character. And you can see that's gonna last 10 seconds. It's exactly the same amount of time that it lasts normally. So it's always 10 seconds. Instead, if you use the holding of the skill, you're gonna instead increase normal, charge, and plunging attack damage by 15%. So depending on your team comp, depending on which characters you're going with Shenhe, you can either increase the skill and the burst, or you can increase normal and the charge attacks. So this makes her very good and very flexible character for different team comps, and yeah, this is very, very nice. Last passive talent, she's gonna grant 25% more rewards whenever you use her on a new expedition for 20 hours, so the longest expedition. And yeah, that's pretty much her. So I'm gonna now do this fight, and then we're gonna take a look very quickly at the constellations. In this case, the party is gonna be with Keia, so 2 cryo characters, then Lisa, and then Xianling. So you can see here, for example, I can just use the skill by pressing it, but you can see that the dash is not always in the direction that you want. So she's gonna dash towards the closer opponent, so sometimes you might not be able to dash through as many of them as you might want. So that's one thing that you have to remember. Instead the holding, I'm gonna try to use it right now, is this one right here, right? And you can see that because it's a polon, you can attack the frozen opponents without breaking the ice, so that's very nice. And yeah, now because I have Keia here, I can actually exploit her the extra bonuses from the skill with Keia, because he's doing cryo damage. So I'm gonna, for example, use the hold here, right? I can use the burst as well, and then I can just move to Keia, right? And I can try to do more cryo damage, trying to increase, you know, the cryo damage that I'm doing. So yeah, that's it. You can see that then as the skill runs out, you can see when it runs out, because you don't have any more these very small things around, you can change to Shenhe and you can just use it again. And remember, if you just use the pressing, you're going to be enhancing the damage from skill and from burst. So for example, here my skill is doing more damage, my burst is doing more damage for the duration. Instead, if I use the holding, I'm going to be increasing the normal attack and the charge attack damage. So yeah, depending on your team comp and what you want, you can just go for different combos. And yeah, this is how Shenhe looks like. I'm gonna just quickly take a look here at the constellations, in case you guys might be interested about that. C1 is gonna give one more stack of the skill, so you can use the skill 2 times in a row if you want to. Now this is super helpful because of the fact that, very simply, you can proc the 2 effects here at once. So you can have the pressing and then you can use the holding. So in that way, you're enhancing both the normal charge skills and bursts that do cryo damage, but you're also enhancing the skill, the burst damage, and normal and charge attack damage. So you are proccing like every possible extra buffs, you're proccing them at once. So that's why I think that her C1, it's already super strong, and yeah, it's very nice. C2 is gonna make the burst last longer, 6 seconds longer, and this is very important because of the fact that the burst, this extra 6 seconds means that the burst is gonna last 18 seconds. So you're only gonna have 2 seconds in between where you can't have the burst active. So it's very nice because remember that you're gonna be reducing the resistances of the enemies, you're gonna be doing some additional damage, and remember that as well. Yeah, you do more cryo damage when you are inside this field. C3 is going to increase the skill level. C4, it's pretty interesting because it adds another passive. Every time that you proc the passive from the skill, so the Icicle effect, you can see that Shenhe is gonna gain a stack of this Skyfrost mantra. And every stack can be obtained every time that you trigger the damage bonus effect. So with any character in the team, I'm pretty sure that even Shenhe is considered in these stacks. And now these stacks are going to be consumed the next time that you use the skill, and it's gonna make the skill do more damage. So that's pretty much it. It's 5% extra damage for each stack, and the maximum stack is 50. So that's a lot of stacks. They're gonna also last a lot of time, 1 minute. So yeah, you can increase the skill up to 250% to do up to 250% more damage. So that's a ton. And yeah, so that's nice. C5 is gonna just enhance the burst level, and then finally C6. Every time that you trigger the Icicle effect with normal or charge attacks, you will not it will not be counted towards the trigger quota. Now, do you remember that every time that you practice, you're gonna end up running out because you're gonna be proccing it way too many times, so you're not gonna be able to proc it again with the same character. But with this C6 level, if you can trigger this effect with normal or charge attacks, it will not be counted. So characters like Ayaka, that you can dash and then the basic attacks become cryo. That means that you can like permanently use your normal or charge attacks, and because they are cryo, they will not be counted towards the trigger quota. So you can permanently have the extra increase, the extra damage bonus applied, and not just for Ayaka, but like even for Chongyun's skill, right? That infuses every weapon with cryo. That also works. So yeah, very strong C6, but of course it's going to be very expensive to obtain. And that's Shenhe. So yeah, now I'm going to just leave the domain, and I'm going to take a look at Yunjin. That is the second character. This other character, it's a 4-star, so that means that it's gonna be a lot more likely that you're gonna be able to unlock her, and you're gonna be able to have even some constellations on her, so that's nice. Now Yunjin is a polearm, once again, user, 4-star, and she's gonna be Geo in this case. Now she's equipped in this case with this 4-star weapon that can be crafted, I think. So nothing too interesting. Artifact set, she has a 4-piece husk of Upland Dreams. And as always, all the talents here are level 8. Now the normal combo, she's gonna have a 5-hit combo, and the 3rd hit and 4th hit are gonna be split into different types of damage. And this is how it looks like. So that's 1, 2, oh sorry, 1, 2, 3, 2 times, 4, 2 times, 5, and that's it. And also it's very nice, the animations that they're adding to this character, because it's based on like a Chinese dancing or something like that. So it's very, very nice. Now moving on to the skill. Once again, Yunjin's skill is very similar to like Bennett's skill, because depending if you press it or if you hold it for a certain amount of time, you're gonna be gaining additional effects. So if you just press it, you're gonna be doing this AoE geo damage, right? Like that. And that's it. Instead, if you hold it, depending on the amount of time that you hold it, you're gonna have additional effects. You're gonna have a charge 1, that it's this one right here. You can see that when the first part of the when she reaches like the first stance, that's the charge level 1. So this one right here, right? Instead, if you hold it longer, she's gonna reach the charge level 2, and I'm gonna just show you what it looks like. 1 and 2, right? You can see that she moves, she changes the stance, and therefore you can see even graphically when you have pressed it long enough to unlock the next level. And if you just press it until the very, very end, she's gonna just unleash it anyway, and it's gonna be charge level 2. And yeah, so that's pretty much how the skill works. Now when you're holding, I don't know if you could see, but when you're holding it, she's gonna create a shield. It's gonna absorb the damage, this shield is gonna of course protect her. And now if you're holding the ability but you're being attacked by enemies, the ability charging is gonna stop if the shield is destroyed. So you can either release it, you can when the duration ends, or if the shield breaks. So that's the 3 factors that are gonna make your skill to be procced. And yeah, you can see here different damages. They're all gonna be based on her defense. I can see the press damage, the charge level 1, and charge level 2. And this is the shield damage absorption as well. Now, very interesting, the cooldown is gonna be always the same. So if you press it, if you use charge level 1 or charge level 2, the cooldown is gonna be always be the same. So it's always 9 seconds. And therefore, yeah, you're gonna just lose the time of the charging of the ability. You're not gonna lose any time in terms of the cooldown, because the cooldown is always the same. So that's something nice. And then moving on to the burst, she's gonna do AoE geo damage around her, and she's gonna grant all party members, so the active members, this flying cloud flag formation. And this passive is gonna enhance the normal attack damage, and you can see that the normal attack are gonna receive bonus damage based on her defense once again. Pretty much like Shenhe, she's gonna have a certain cap, so she can proc this additional damage a certain amount of times, or when the ability like runs out. And each party member, once again, pretty much like Shenhe, is gonna have an independent amount of stacks. So if you can proc like the maximum amount of stacks on one character, then you can switch to a new one, and you can keep on applying the additional damage with the normal attacks. And now you can see right here the stats, damage increase, the skill damage, the duration, cooldown, and the amount of triggers that you can proc. You can see here each enemy is gonna proc the triggers like once. So if it says here that if you hit multiple enemies with one attack, you're gonna, for example, hit 3 enemies, you're gonna be proccing 3 times this quota. So when you reach 30, that's the maximum. You're not gonna be able to exploit anymore the extra damage, even if you're still inside the duration of the burst. The energy cost though is pretty low. It's 60. So you can see that there are only 3 seconds between the duration and the cooldown. So you should be able to have these bursts like almost permanently up, and therefore you can permanently increase the normal attack damage with her. So that's very nice. So she can be used in team comps that have characters that do a lot of damage with the basic attacks, like I don't know, like Eula, and therefore, or even Ito. But unfortunately, I think normal attacks here means that charge attacks are not counted. So charge attacks will not gain this additional damage. So maybe Ito might not be the best character. But yeah, you can just think about different combos with different characters with to exploit this extra damage with the normal attacks. And now moving on to the passive talents. The first one is gonna just enhance the like the skill if you use it in the exact timing when she's attacked. Pretty much like Beido's skill, right? If you use it in the exact timing when she's attacked, she's gonna be doing the maximum damage. That's exactly the same right here. So you can also have a little bit of skill moving on with these characters, so you can do some additional damage. The second passive talent is gonna be increasing the amount of damage bonus you do when you have after you use the burst, depending on the elemental types on your party. So you can see here that if you have like only one element in your party, you're going to be gaining an additional 2.5% damage bonus. So this 51%, right? Talent level 8 becomes 53.5. If you have 2 different elements in your team, you're going to be gaining 5% bonus damage. If you have 3, 7.5. If you have 4, so if you have 4 different elements, you're going to be gaining an additional 11.5% of this damage right here. So yeah, this is very interesting because it makes it that you don't run out with characters with the same element, but you try to have different elements. So in that way, you are giving even more more damage with the burst. So yeah, it's just a very nice interaction here. And then lastly, the last passive talent, whenever she cooks foods that are adventure related, for example, stamina or stuff like that, she's gonna have a 12% chance of obtaining double the product. And that's it. Now once again here I'm gonna go through the fight. So you can see here I want to try to, for example, proc the effect when I'm attacked. Unfortunately, I think there I didn't proc it correctly with the correct timing. Maybe there I was able to proc it in time because I saw the flags right away. And yeah, that's just it. So if you use the burst here in this case, you can see that the normal attacks are enhanced. I'm doing more damage compared to before. And all the characters, for example, here if I move to Noelle, you can see that also Noelle has the extra buffs until, of course, the ability runs out. And but you can see that it's pretty easy to have enough particles to recharge it. Of course, this is the trial version, so in the trial version you can obtain more particles, so it's easier to collect them. But yeah, this is just a very quick fight how to use Yunjin. Unfortunately here the team comp is very bad. Like I only have Noelle, I don't have other characters, I can't switch to other characters. I can't really exploit her passive right here, so this one. But yeah, overall it looks pretty nice. And I think here, for example, Noelle also, it's a pretty good combo. You use Noelle's burst, you're enhancing already the damage that you do because of Yunjin's burst, right? And yeah, when the effect ends, you can just use the burst again, and yeah, you can just keep on going. So that's just how it is. I'm pretty sure that on a team comp with 4 characters, it's going to be easier to understand more and to use this character properly, and also to create more particles. But yeah, that's just it. Now moving on to the skill, sorry, to the constellations. Right, remember she's a 4-star character, so if you really like her and you like her playstyle and you know already you're gonna use her in your team, you can try to have some and unlock some constellations on her because of the fact that she's a 4-star. And now C1 is gonna decrease by 18% the cooldown of the skill. Now, I've calculated this 18% reduction in the cooldown means that the skill from 9 seconds is gonna now be 7.4 seconds. So that's how this 18% is gonna affect these 9 seconds. Then C2 is gonna enhance the burst. And now you can see that every time that you use the burst, you're gonna enhance by 15% normal attack damage by all the active party members for 12 seconds. That's exactly how much the burst actually lasts. And remember that this 15% is calculated before the bonus damage. So you're gonna be enhancing the normal attack damage plus the this damage increase based on her defense. So it's 2 different damage increase that you're gonna proc. So that's very, very good. C3 is going to increase the level of the burst. C4 is gonna, like, when you trigger a crystallized reaction, so when you have like a character with any element and you use a geo attack and you crystallize, Yunjin is gonna have her defense increase by 20% for 12 seconds. So once again, this is a lot of defense increase for a pretty long time. And I'm pretty sure that if you can proc another crystallized reaction before these 12 seconds, you're going to just be refreshing the duration and you're going to have another 12 seconds and so on. So once again, this one looks awesome because of the fact that a lot of her abilities are going to be depending on her defense, the skill damage, and the extra damage from the burst. So yeah, very nice. C4 is going to increase the skill level. And then lastly, C6 is going to increase the normal attack speed of characters when you are using the burst. So when you have this flying cloud flag formation, it's the burst passive. You're gonna have the active characters to have more attack speed, so you're gonna be able to attack faster. And yeah, so in combo with C2, it increases the normal attack damage, and in combo already with the passive that she has, it's gonna be quite nice to have this extra attack speed, because in that way you can attack more times, and therefore you can have more basic attacks. You can just do more damage overall. And yeah, that's it. So this is it for these 2 new characters in this new minor update. And now, of course, I'm gonna be trying to pull for Yunjin because, well, she's a new character, and I really would like to at least, unlock her. I don't know if I'm gonna be using her because she's gel, and I don't have many, team comps with gel that can be good. But the fact that she can enhance normal attacks means that she's gonna be pretty decent with, as I said before, with any characters that have like Claymore, like even Razor, right? Razor or Eula, or like even Keqing or Ayaka. Like, I think even Catalyst can benefit from the fact that the normal attacks are enhanced. So yeah, we're gonna have 2 banners here, of course, Shenhe or Xiao, depending on what you want. And let's see here, my history. I think I'm pretty far away from the PD because I don't really wanna get a 5-star here. I'm trying to save up for Zhongli, so that's why I don't really want to pick up a 5-star here. I have 4 wishes, and then I have 636, so I have 40. So I have 40 wishes, so I should be very far away from the pity. And yeah, each banner, you can see the 4 stars are going to be exactly the same. The 5-star is the only one that's going to change, so I'm going to wish on this one, right? I don't have a lot of Primogens, but I'm gonna here do a 10 pull to see if I got something. Okay, actually I got Goro off banner, and then Ningguang. So yeah, that was weird. And now I'm gonna just start pulling by one. Let's hope I can get the... I just wanna unlock her. You know, I'm gonna see if it's worth it trying to pull for more constellations. But yeah, I got another Ningguang here. And yeah, this looks already pretty bad luck. Because like the next 4-star I'm gonna get is not guaranteed to be on the banner. And therefore, yeah. I don't wanna really wish too much, because otherwise I'm gonna be getting too close to the pity. And if I get a 5-star right now, I'm gonna end up like maybe not having enough wishes to try to pull for Jungle. So I hope here that I can get the new character quite quickly. Also, I'm looking at my Primogens. I'm almost below 4,000, so that's not great. A 4-star. Oh, this should be guaranteed 4-star. Let's see. Oh, another Ningguang. Okay, well, I got 3 Ningguangs and 1 Goro. No, the new character, so that's pretty sad. I think I'm gonna stop wishing for now. I'm gonna maybe wish in another time. Let's see if my luck changes, because like getting 3 Ningguangs in a row, it's pretty uncommon. But yeah, that was it for this new minor update and these 2 new characters. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.